Hi, I'm Dr. Melissa West, and welcome to the Intelligent Core class. If this is your first time through the video, listen up. There is some important information I'm going to go through with you now, and if you've already seen this, then you're going to fast forward to this point in the video. You are going to need two props for this video. One is a slow-mo exercise ball. It's small, and you can get this on Amazon. I'll link to that in the show notes. You can get this for less than $10. And you will partially inflate this. And the other prop that you are going to need is a Melt soft foam roller. And I will link to this on the show notes as well. If you already have a foam roller, you can use the one that you have, but it won't be a soft foam roller likely. So you'll need to wrap it in a towel so that it's soft so you don't damage your connective tissue. So those are the two props that you're going to need for this video. You want to drink a glass of water before this class and sip water throughout this class. Please come to this class well hydrated. So that will probably mean starting your hydration the day before, the hours before you do this video. If possible, start your hydration the day before. In this class, we are going to be retraining your core so that it can return to its natural intelligence. You will exchange brute force and an armored exterior for a supple and dynamic core. Contrary to popular opinion, muscle weakness is not necessarily the problem, and taking control through strength training programs that build dense muscular tissue simply creates armoring, defensiveness, and disharmony. Through this class, we will let go of control and awaken an internal strength by accessing the integrity of your core. As Liz Koch says, no mammal except for the human performs abdominal crunches. These exercises will help you align with your neutral body and achieve resiliency, coherency, and coordination. So here are some of the principles to bring with you through the class. Allow yourself to be breathed. Stay connected with your core. In order to stay connected with your core, you have to slow down your movement. And sensing, which we'll do a lot of in this class, is not about speed or quantity. You're probably going to wonder what your psoas muscle is because we're going to be focusing on that a lot in this class. So we'll have a picture of the psoas now on the screen. There are two interacting muscles in your psoas and your iliacus, and we'll point to those in the picture as well. Your psoas goes from your solar plexus to your inner leg. Your iliacus fans open on the inside of your pelvic basin, and you'll see that in the picture as well. Together, they share a tendon that forms their intricate relationship. Your psoas is your largest core muscle. It originates at T12 and emerges out L5, and it goes down through the pelvic basin and goes back into the greater trochanter of the femur bone. So what does your psoas do? It connects your legs to your spine. It's a deep layer of connective tissue, a sympathetic neurocore along your spine and your kidneys. Its job is to convey messages concerning changes in weight distribution in your body, location, and safety. It's involved in spinal movement. It acts as a pendulum for free movement of your legs while you walk. 360-degree expression of your psoas allows for upper, lower, front, back, and side-to-side coherency of your whole body. Your psoas provides support for your organs and communicates subtle shifts in structural, neurological, chemical, and energetic dynamics. Your psoas bridges your brain and your belly, both your enteric nervous system and your autonomic nervous system. The large nerve ganglia located in your belly core travels to the digestive organs and reproductive organs and passes over and is embedded in your psoas. The psoas is responsible for transmitting messages of safety, harmony, and integrity, communicating whether we are centered and congruent or encumbered and vulnerable. We're going to begin with a rebalancing sequence. So you will need a soft roller to begin our class today. So we moved inside away from all the leaf blowers. We're going to begin with a rebalancing sequence. And for this, in a moment or two, you're going to need your soft foam roller. And if you don't have a soft foam roller, then you'll take the foam roller that you have and wrap a towel around it. But to begin with, you'll lie on your back on your yoga mat with your legs out long in front of you and your palms turned up. For each exercise that we will do in this video, I will give you the intention behind the exercise and the why we're doing it. The reason that I will do this for each exercise is that this intelligent core video is probably going to be so different from any other core video that you're doing that I feel that an explanation is probably necessary for each exercise that we're doing to help you sink into the why of what we're doing. So the intention behind this is to rebalance and rehydrate your connective tissue. Why would you need to do that? Repetition of daily living causes your connective tissue to become dehydrated from excessive compression, pull, and friction. Dehydration makes your connective tissue less supportive, responsive, and adaptable, which causes strain and muscle compression in joints and disconnection in communication required for bodily movement or position, repetitive or not. This isn't just about drinking water. It is about getting fluid moving in your tissues. Connective tissue dehydration is the underlying cause of strain and pain in your body, as well as a catalyst for pre-pain symptoms. To your body, activity and inactivity are dehydrating. Sitting at a desk for hours at a time, your own body weight is dehydrating. It dehydrates your butt and thighs while your posture is pulling on and dehydrating your tissue from your head to your tailbone. When you're active, the repetitive motion compresses and causes friction in your joints and pulls on tendons, ligaments, and lines of connective tissue. What creates this dehydration may be different, but in both cases, connective tissue loses its vital fluid. And that's all from Sue Hitzman of the MELT method. So what you're going to be doing now as you lie in your back is starting to bring awareness to the imbalance that exists in your body. So that when you do the exercise, after you do it, you can notice the rebalancing. So start to breathe and allow your body to relax into the floor. Close your eyes and just notice what you feel. You're not going to touch your body at all. That's why you have your palms turned up beside you. You're just sensing into what's happening. We'll do this throughout the class. Bring your awareness to your upper body. Are your ribs resting on the floor? Notice if your arms are evenly weighted. Do you feel your shoulder blades evenly? Check in with your navel center. Does your back feel lifted off the ground from your navel to your shoulder blades? And now check in with the region below your navel. Your low back should be gently lifted off the ground. Now notice your pelvis. Check in and see if one side of your butt cheek feels more weighted than the other. Do you feel your tailbone on the ground instead of your butt cheeks? Now divide your body into two halves, the left and the right half. Does your right half feel heavier or longer or bigger? Or does your left half feel heavier or longer or bigger? Or do they feel even? Okay, so bring all that awareness with you as we come into our first moving exercise. I bet you thought this was never going to happen. So you're going to come onto your roller. So you're going to take your roller and you're going to sit on the very edge of your roller with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, and lie down on your roller with your palms down on the ground. And your whole head should be on the roller as well as your whole pelvis. If it's not, you're just going to scooch down a little bit. And you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose here. And let it fall out of your mouth. And then what you're going to do is just begin gently rocking from side to side. And just notice if it's easier to roll to one side or the other. And then take your hands on your pelvis. The heels of your hands will go on your hip bones, and then your fingertips will rest on your pubic bone. Your rib cage is going to remain heavy throughout this, and you're going to tip your pubic bone up, and you're going to point your pubic bone down. So you're rocking your pelvis up and down here. Here, let your feet be heavy. Let your rib cage be heavy. So you don't want your rib cage to lift and flare while you do this. Just gentle rocking of your pelvis back and forth here. And just notice if your rib cage starts to lift at all, then let your ribs be heavy. Try and isolate the movement in your pelvis. And then you're going to take your hands and place them on your ribs. And what you're going to do is just take normal breaths. And feel for breath movement into the front and backs of your ribs. And these don't need to be the biggest breaths ever, but you're just feeling breath movement into the fronts and backs of your ribs. And then shift your hands right up into your armpits. And you're going to breathe into your side ribs. And you're going to feel for breath movement laterally into your side ribs. And then take one hand and place it at the top of your chest, and one hand and place it at the bottom on your pelvis. And breathe right down into the bottom of your pelvis and also right up into your chest. So that you're breathing vertically all the way down and all the way up. And if any rocking happens on the roller, that's completely normal and fine. It's just your body and your system rebalancing. And now you're going to breathe three-dimensionally. So you're going to breathe into the front, sides, and top, bottom of your torso. So breathing three-dimensionally. And then drawing it all in. And 2 more times like that. Front, sides, top, bottom, and breathe it all in. And 1 more. And then to come off your roller, you'll take your hands down by the sides of your roller again. Lengthen long through your right leg, and then you roll off to the side. Take your roller and roll it out. And then you lie back down on the ground with your palms up beside you again. And take a deep breath. And then you're going to stay here, and I'm going to lead you through some cues to check in post-roller. So notice if your ribs are heavier on the floor. Check in with your pelvis. Are your butt cheeks more even? Divide your body in half again. Check in and see if your right and left sides feel more even, if there's less of a distinction between your right and left sides. And then take a deep breath. And notice if it's easier to breathe. So have a drink of water while I tell you about the intention behind the next exercise and why we're doing the next exercise. The next exercise, we're going to lengthen your psoas. So we are lengthening your psoas to feel volume, depth, and spaciousness in your psoas. Your psoas, when engaged for structural support, so that is if you're using your psoas muscle, which we talked about in the introduction to the video, instead of your skeleton to hold you upright, the psoas will signal a low-grade anxiety. So if you experience anxiety, this is really important. It behaves as if the continual survival mode is going on. For example, if you live a fast-paced life, it signals the central nervous system to be further overstressed and depletes your adrenals and your immune system. So if you're constantly getting sick, you're dealing with chronic illness, or if you have adrenal fatigue, these are all important reasons to be doing these kinds of exercises. Continually being on guard creates defensive posturing and compensatory armoring, which is why it's not great to do more exercises that create more armoring around your core. Skeletal instability creates the need for more and more muscular involvement. Regaining a supple psoas and centered pelvis and harmony, regaining supple psoas and centered pelvis, then we will have harmony restored. So for this one, you're going to need that soft foam roller again. Going to lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And you'll take the foam roller, press into your feet, and place it underneath your pelvis. And you want to have it right on your sacrum, so that large triangular bony shaped structure that's in the center of your pelvis. And then you're going to actually just drop. See what I just did? You're going to drop your pelvis slightly. You see how it kind of tips over the foam roller. Did you see how that happened? So get that happening and you'll feel a release, and that's part of your psoas releasing. And allow your body to be breathed here. Take a few breaths here. Now you're going to internally rotate your right leg slightly, and then you're going to slide your right leg out. So it's great to wear socks through this whole class because there's some sliding that's going to happen with your legs. And this is part of releasing your lower psoas. So you're going to release your lower psoas here, and then you can feel that lengthening happening through your lower psoas. And you're going to pause here and allow your lower psoas to be released and allow your body to be breathed here. Feel this opening and lengthening, this rehydrating of your psoas. And then we're going to add your upper psoas to this. So you're going to take your right arm straight up, and you're going to slowly lengthen your right arm overhead. And pause there. And you'll take your left hand and hold on to your right wrist. And you're going to side bend towards your left side of your body and turn your head towards your right armpit. So you get a really big lengthening along your right psoas here. Allow your body to be breathed. And then slowly gather everything back up to the center. Take a deep breath in. Okay, keeping your pelvis tipped over to keep your lower psoas lengthened. We're going to do the other side. You're going to do your left side. So I'm going to demonstrate this on my right side again, just because I have a shoulder injury and I don't have range of motion through my right shoulder right now, so it's difficult to demonstrate it on that side. So let's go ahead and do this on your left side. So I'm going to begin by lengthening out your left leg, but first internally rotate your left leg slightly. Breathe in, breathe out, and slowly slide your left leg out. And once your left leg is lengthened out, slightly internally rotated, breathe here. And then you're going to take your left arm up and you're going to slowly arc your left arm overhead. And pause here. And that lengthens out your upper psoas. And then use your left hand to grab onto your right wrist and slowly side bend over to your right side so that you're fully lengthening out through your left side. Turn towards your left side with your head. Pause here, allow your body to be breathed. And then come back to center. Gather yourself up. Press into your feet. And take your foam roller off to your side. You can pause here to allow your body to reintegrate. And I will let you know what we're doing next. Okay, so next we're going to lengthen your psoas with a lunge pose. And this is going to work with your iliacus muscles. So we'll actually put the image on the screen again so you can have a look at that again. Your iliacus connects your leg bone to your pelvis and it fills the inside of your pelvic bowl. So the intention behind this is that if a lunge is done properly, it can lengthen your iliacus and psoas muscle. When done improperly, it can cause hyperextension of your spine, SI joint dysfunction, and compression of your neck and low back. For this exercise, you're going to need a folded blanket to support your knees on your yoga mat. And the reason why we're doing this is that when your iliopsoas complex is constricted and the tissue is shortened, it pulls and narrows your pelvis forward and down, and the abdominals lose their tone. So rather than using abdominal corseting to establish core strength, real core power comes from re-establishing the core's full expression of primal movement with healthy abdominals undulating open and closed similar to an accordion. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is get a blanket probably for underneath your knees unless you're on carpeting in your home. So I'm going to use a Mexican blanket here. And you're going to stand on your knees here. And you want to center your pelvis here. So just notice if your pelvis is tipped forward or tipped forward or tipped back. So you want to come somewhere in the center and place your hands on the rim of your pelvis to monitor your pelvis is going to stay centered, so it's not going to tip side to side, which might end up happening once you start putting one leg or the other forward. So I'm going to get you to step forward with your left leg to begin, with your hands on your hips. And realign your pelvis when you do that. So shift your weight forward and make sure your pelvis is realigned here. So when you do this, you're lengthening out your lower psoas here. So allow yourself to be breathed here. And then you're going to take your hand, your right hand, and place it on the back of your head. And you're going to rotate open towards away from your right side, so that you're opening up your upper psoas as well. And allow yourself to be breathed. Keep your pelvis square. And then you can come back center. And we'll do this on the other side. So this time you're going to place your hands on your pelvis. You're going to step forward with your right leg this time. And then check in with your pelvis again, top to bottom, right to left. And lean forward again till you feel that opening in the front of your iliopsoas. And allow yourself to be breathed here. Take your left hand at the back of your head. And then rotate open. And then come back to center and lean back. Okay, the next exercise we're going to do are 2 variations of pigeon. And it would probably be good here to take your blanket and open it up on your mat so you have some support for underneath your knees again. And have a drink of water. So the intention here is to create a supple spine with a fully released iliopsoas complex. And the reason for this is that when in danger, our psoas notifies us to pay attention, readying us to move away, to stand our ground, or take cover. And by working with our psoas and our core awareness, we learn how to be alert and responsive rather than reactive. And then we can choose how to respond. Okay, so we're going to do 2 variations of pigeon, and I want you to come to this with beginner's mind, like you're not a yogi at all, as if this is the first time you've ever done this exercise. Okay, so you're going to start on all 4s. And again, with this exercise, you want to keep your pelvic basin square and facing forward. So for the first time, you're going to slide your right knee straight forward with your heel right under your buttocks. And then you're going to slide your left knee straight back. And let your spine lengthen and curve upward, and feel the psoas opening up on the left side of your body. Focus on the long arc through your psoas under the opposite side and breathe here. Okay, now you're going to slide your right leg straight back so that you're coming onto all 4s again. And you're going to keep your pelvis level again. So you're going to slide your your left knee straight forward to your left wrist now. You're going to slide your right leg straight back. Keep your pelvis level. And this time you're opening up your right psoas. So lower, arcing all the way up through your upper psoas. Allowing your body to be breathed here. Okay, for the next variation, the second time, you're going to focus on the movement coming again from your hips. And this time you're going to rotate your right leg through your hip socket, and you're going to bring your right leg forward. So circle your hip socket forward first. You want to keep your pelvis level and reach your left leg back. Stay upright through your psoas. So again, you're focusing on here and keeping your pelvis level. So you can always feel the space underneath your right buttocks here. We're staying upright in these pigeons. And then you're going to circle that right leg back to underneath all fours. And then you're going to do this on the other side. So the movement happens from your left hip socket. You're going to try and keep your pelvis level as much as possible. And then slide your right leg straight back. Keep your pelvis level. And allow the front of your psoas to open up. And then you're going to come back upright and onto all fours. You're going to have a drink of water again and put this blanket off to the side now. I don't think you're going to need it again, but I'm not making any promises either. Okay, for the next exercise, you're going to need your partially inflated slow-mo ball. And when I'm telling you the intention for this exercise and why we're doing it, I will get you set up in the pre-state for this exercise. So what you're going to do is lie on your belly and place this ball in the center of your sternum, in the center of your breastbone. So you're going to lie down on it like this, with your palms up beside you, and your forehead on the mat. And you're going to focus on letting your tops of your legs and your tops of your feet be heavy, and just let yourself drop into the ball here. So with this exercise, we're going to be doing Sphinx with the slow-mo ball. And the intention here is to release and lengthen your iliopsoas. And the reason why we're doing this is that emotional muscular tension is a form of armoring that exhausts the potential of the psoas. Stretched ligaments, tendonitis, sciatica, dislocations, compressed discs, low back, knee, ankle, and hip problems may all be traced back to imbalances reflected in an exhausted, overused, or misused psoas. When overused, misused, or abused, or ignoring its signals, the psoas eventually loses its suppleness and begins to dry out and eventually shrink. So as you lie on your belly and place your weight on the slow-mo ball, you're going to rest your body here and give your weight over to the ball. And sense your weight moving through the front of your hip sockets and through the top of your feet. So when you're ready, you're going to feel yourself glide in an arch, and with as little effort as possible, roll with the ball and lengthen your psoas. So you glide forward in an arch. And as you inhale and exhale, you'll feel this dance between surrender, opening, buoyancy, and arching. And then you're going to press yourself up onto all fours and come back into child's pose. You can have your arms out long or your hands down by your feet here. Okay, you're going to slowly roll up. And for the next exercise, you're going to need a yoga block, or you can come to the stairs in your home. Okay, so get your block and come up to standing. Okay, the intention behind the standing exercise, the standing psoas pendulum release, is to release and lengthen your psoas. And the pendulum motion stimulates fluids by providing internal massaging motions. When it is hydrated, it will nourish your core. However, if your psoas is called upon to support structural misalignment, its suppleness is curtailed over time. Its delicate tissue will dry and shrink if it's used for structure or emotional support over time. Then the expressiveness of your psoas will diminish. So what you're going to need for this is your block and either a wall or a chair for balance. You may not need that for balance, but you're going to stand up on your block. I'm going to stand on my right foot. You're I'm going to use my elbow for support so that I can place my hands on my pelvis to make sure my pelvis is staying still and not swinging. And then I'm just going to start by gently swinging my leg back and forth just a little bit. If I start to really swing my leg, do you notice how my pelvis starts moving? So that's way too much of a swing. If I gently swing it, then it's just an independent movement of my leg and my pelvis is staying still. Then it's really the psoas that's releasing, not just a whole pelvic movement. And then we're going to go ahead and do this on the other side. So when you come off, you might feel that this leg feels more underneath you, more integrated with your body, kind of stronger. You might not feel huge differences because we've already been doing so much work with your psoas. Okay, so let's go ahead and stand on the block with your left leg. And again, use your hands on your pelvis just to make sure that you're not tipping your pelvis forward and back when you're penduluming your leg. Make your movements smaller. Great. And then come down off your block and feel your legs evenly underneath you, and you've released your lower psoas that way. Okay, we're going to come back down onto the ground, lying on your back, and you'll need your slow-mo ball. Okay, for this exercise, you're going to need your slow-mo ball, and you're going to lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. This is to explore the startle response in arcing, and it allows you to experience the expression of a surprise gesture, and it prepares you for reaching when actively falling. It activates the sympathetic response to rolling, jumping, and running. So it prepares you for frightening things so that you know how to respond to them. So what you're going to do is lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And you're going to take your slow-mo ball. And basically you're going to place it right underneath T12, which is kind of right underneath your solar plexus. So that's right a little bit above your navel. So press into your feet and take that deflated ball and place it there. And you can see that it creates this arc in your back. And then what you're going to do also is take your arms and you're going to arc them overhead. You're going to follow it with your eyes. And only one of my arms goes overhead right now because of my shoulder injury. But you're going to take both arms overhead and you're going to follow it with your eyes so that your throat is open too. Your arms are overhead, your throat is open. You're going to breathe here. So notice what's happening for you mentally and emotionally here. And then you're going to inhale. Exhale with a We'll do that 2 more times. One more. And then you're going to take your ball out from underneath you. And you're going to come onto your back flat on the floor. And you're just going to take a few breaths here. Okay, for the next exercise, you'll need your socks on if you don't already have them on. So I'm going to put my socks on. You need your socks on so that you can slide your feet across the floor. And we're going to do a couple more exercises to release your lower and your upper psoas, and then we're going to do constructive rest. So the reason why we're going to release your lower psoas, the intention behind this is so that you can move your legs separate from your pelvis. And the why we're doing this, one of the reasons why, is that most of what is called aging may be more accurately understood as a process of drying. The juicy plump psoas, through time, lack of movement and lack of support, dries and shrinks. As the psoas dries, it begins to shorten. The image of a bent over elderly person represents the dry, shrunken psoas. When understood from this perspective, the idea of stretching the psoas seems off the mark. What the psoas is yearning for is hydration and deep nourishment. The gush of fluid, micro movements, undulations, and wave-like motions can enliven the exhausted psoas. So you're going to begin here with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, and you're just going to massage the tops of your hip bones, your iliopsoas. And then you're going to turn your right knee in slightly. You're going to inhale, you're going to exhale. You're going to, and I'm actually just going to fold my mat up here. So you just scoot down to the bottom of your mat here, so that you're on your carpeted floor, or your wood floor if you have one. If you don't have a wood floor, you can use if you put a plate underneath your foot on a carpet, that would make it slidey. Okay, so you're going to inhale, you're going to exhale, you're going to slide slowly your foot along the floor. This is very subtle movement to release your lower psoas. And feel it lengthen and release. And once it's long, allow your body to be breathed. You want to check in as you're lengthening it out. Notice any shortening in your low back. And if that's happening, it means your psoas isn't releasing, but that your low back is compensating. And if that happens, then don't continue, just come back and start again. Pause and release and lengthen again. Then you're going to glide your right leg back up. And we'll do this on our left side as well. So internally rotate your left leg slightly. Inhale here. Exhale and slowly slide your left leg long on the ground. Glide it. Let your leg move independently of your pelvis. Let your ribs be heavy. Noticing any shortening in your low back, and if that's happening, you're going to back up and start again. Feeling that lengthening of your lower psoas. And then once your leg is released, you're going to pause here. And allow your body to be breathed. And then you're going to go back to both of your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. You're going to take both of your arms in the air. So you're going to imagine both of my arms doing this. I'll just do it with my right arm. And you're going to inhale here. And keeping your ribs on the ground, allow them to be weighted without efforting or using your overusing abdominal strength. You're going to inhale here. And you're going to exhale. You're going to slowly start to arc both arms overhead. Breathing. And then pausing when your arms reach the ground to release your upper psoas. And the reason why we're doing this is that any compression in your upper psoas will impede diaphragmatic breathing, compressing in and down, creating hyperextension in your lumbar spine. And a constricted upper psoas pushes your esophagus, potentially contributes to hernias, digestive problems, and curtails blood flow to your pelvis, legs, and feet. So keep letting yourself breathe here and feel the weight, breadth, and length of your upper psoas. And then you'll push into your feet to arc your arms back up. And you're going to stay here in constructive rest position to end. You can either have your palms turned up here beside you. You can have your hands on your low pelvis or your belly. So whatever works best for you. So the intention behind constructive rest position is to release superfluous tension in your psoas, to allow gravity to release energetic nerve tension out of your psoas, to unravel tension patterns, and to enhance proprioception, let go of old conditioning, enhance experience of relaxation, and mature your central nervous system. Why do we do it? Constructive rest position is a perfect climate for decreasing excessive nerve excitation, which will help you open up to consciously perceive and differentiate sensation. It will help you unravel all forms of tension in your body. It unravels fascial and visceral imbalances, inward to free bone and core muscles, and outward to relieve surface muscular tension. So this is all about turning inward to really notice subtle things that are happening in your body. So as you lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor, your feet are going to be about 12 to 16 inches from your buttocks. Here you're allowing gravity to release energetic nerve tension out of your psoas. So just notice the effects of gravity on your body. Allow yourself to sink into the ground. Pay attention to each sensation that comes into your awareness. Notice internal messages that might be overlooked or ignored. Focus on parts of your body that call your attention. Allow yourself to become aware of parts of your body that have little or no sensation. Become aware of your pelvis. Notice your hip sockets. What's happening with your sacrum? Notice your feet. Become aware of your skull. When your awareness wanders, simply return to sensation in your body. Allow your awareness to awaken the area. Let your awareness be light and fluid. And notice if you tense one part of your body in order to stay focused on another. Do you feel supported by the floor? Do you sense weight? And where do you make contact with the floor? And where do you feel suspended? Place your awareness on the lowest part of your psoas as it softens over each hip socket. And gradually allow your breath to deepen. Wiggle and stretch out. Bend your knees. Roll to your right side. And slowly make your way up to seated. So thank you for joining me for this Intelligent Core class. This has been a class that's been on my wish list. It was on my whiteboard back in Ajax for about a year. And now we've lived here for 6 months. So it's been on my wish list for about 18 months to create. So thank you for supporting me and wanting to create it as well. You know, it's a very different kind of class. So I encourage you to be mindful of the shifts that have happened in your body over this class as you go out into your day now. So notice how you are different physically, mentally, emotionally as you go about your day now. What's shifted and changed for you? You might notice this in subtle and not so subtle ways. I know it's a very different kind of class. So I look forward to hearing about how this class has affected you. Please do leave your comments in the comment section. And I look forward to hearing about it. Namaste.
Melissa would love to hear your questions and thoughts. Please leave your comments below the video. Thank you for your reviews on iTunes and YouTube. Your reviews help us to share yoga and a yoga lifestyle with others around the world. If you have a question for Melissa, you can leave a voice message at melissawest.com, and Melissa may answer it in an upcoming blog.